Hello, my name is David Haviland, and I'm an entomologist for the University of California's Extension in Kern County. Well, one of the neat things about being a farm advisor is that I get to work directly with growers to jointly help solve their problems. I get the opportunity to bring my expertise as an entomologist and as a researcher and match that up with their expertise in how they grow crops so that together we can find out, oftentimes, a better way to grow something. So right here, for example, we've got part of the almond tree, and there's several different pests that can affect almonds. There's worms that'll get in these nuts, but also like mites, for example, will get on these leaves and will actually probe on the surface of those leaves and cause damage to them. When pesticides are used, of course, no farmer likes to use them because they cost money and there are some dangers to them. But when they do have to use them, they want to be able to get this whole tree completely covered. So that way, maybe they only need to come in one time and that'll solve their entire problem. So, you can imagine when you're trying to deal with an insect problem, the problem exists not just down here in the bottom of the tree, but throughout the entire tree. And so if you're in here, for example, spraying a pesticide that has to get to the very tops of these trees, obviously you're shooting a lot of that product up in the air. And so, because of that, farmers have a lot of things that they try to do to make sure none of that pesticide escapes into the atmosphere and up into the air. And part of my job is helping them find ways to do that. So one of the really fun things about my job specifically is the freedom I have. I get to choose, which of these insects are of most interest to me, which problems are the biggest, which crops are the most interesting, and I get to actually pick and choose exactly what I want to work on. So as with any job, education is really important. For example, the people that work out here with pests, that make decisions, most of them usually have a bachelor's degree in some kind of agricultural science. For my job and fellow advisors like myself, you have to have a minimum of a master's degree, and most advisors like myself do actually have a PhD, some with even a little more experience than that. If you're interested in agricultural science, the best thing that you can do is get involved. Summer jobs out in agriculture help out a lot. Within school, a lot of the schools in Kern County have agricultural programs, your FFA programs, which can give you some great experience. And by utilizing that, that can help you find out not just that you're interested in agriculture, but in what part of agriculture you're interested. And just want to encourage you, really work hard. Focus on your grades, focus on schooling, get as much education as you can, and from there, lots of other opportunities will continue to open up for you for the rest of your life.
Hi, I'm Ron Brummett. I'm the Executive Director of the Kern Council of Governments. Here at KernCog, I manage the transportation planning program for all of Kern County. A couple of our primary goals are to make our transportation as efficient as possible, but a major goal also is using transportation to try and clean up our air quality. I'm the executive director of an agency, or the chief executive officer of an agency. It takes several years of education as well as other technical training. You're going to need a bachelor's degree, a master's degree in resource planning, and you also need to have other additional training, public administration, political science. One of the major projects that we're working on here is the Kern Regional Blueprint. We're trying to see how the community will develop between now and 2050. First alternative is a no-change alternative, where we're looking at, if we continue to build and grow the way we are, this is what the community would look like. In the moderate change alternative, we're looking at having higher density pedestrian paths, higher density housing, more walkable, more commercial areas that we can walk to, more public transportation, and it even creates a more compact community. This is Troy, and on the screen you can see he has a map. The GIS software is used to take data off of tables and put it in a map form. Here we have the transportation modeling software. We use this to predict where future transportation issues and problems are going to occur. We take today's data, we project it 20 or 30 years out into the future, and then we use the transportation model to tell us where our problems are going to be so that we can then start working towards solving those problems. To be able to work in these types of jobs, you need to have good writing skills, good math skills, extensive air quality science background. You need to have good computer skills to work in the GIS mapping, the transportation modeling, and transportation programs. Jobs in transportation and air quality planning require a bachelor's degree at a minimum, so you need to enroll in a junior college or a state university to get the broad experience and background that you need. What I really like about my job is I'm able to make a difference in my community. I'm able to work on transportation projects, air quality projects, so that we have better transportation, cleaner air. It impacts our quality of life now, and it will impact us in the future.
Hi, my name is Adrian Corral. I'm an automotive technician for the Kern High School District. As an automotive technician for the Kern High School District, we repair and maintain school buses, trucks, police cars, and we have one of the largest natural gas fleets. There's a lot of diagnostic material on these buses. We have to use laptops to perform our diagnostics, check the CNG filling stations, and make sure there's no leaks on the bus. So we're using a laptop, a normal laptop that has programs in it for the John Deere motor, and we'll be diagnosing the engine if there's any drivability problem. So this is one of the interesting tools that you use every day that we use also to diagnose vehicles. To become an automotive technician, you should take a general automotive course, and if a welding course is available, take that also. I personally have a AS degree in automotive technology. There is called a ASE, it's Automotive Service of Excellence. They certify mechanics. Being an automotive technician, it's a great job. Just not working for the Kern High School District, you can work for a dealership, you can work for any fleet services, you can work for Caltrans, you can work for the PG&E company. We all have vehicles. So the jobs out there, they're high in demand. There's not very many of us technicians out there that have the schooling and have the knowledge to work on vehicles, and it's endless possibility. There are so many, everybody drives a car everywhere. So the automotive technician, that's the job to have.
Hi, I'm Melissa Vreeman. I'm your local weather anchor. I do the weather here at ABC 23. I get up pretty early because I'm your morning weather anchor. I research the weather and I put together all the maps and graphics so I can tell you just what you can expect. I love what I do. I pull radar imagery and I analyze that to forecast your weather. Then, well, I get ready for the show, and that starts at 5 a.m. We have a live broadcast from 5 to 7 a.m., and then we do local weather for Good Morning America from 7 to 9. My last show of the day, well, that's at 11, and I'm done by 11:30. Most of the time, this is where I start my weather segments. We call this the Weather Pod. I usually have something up in the monitor behind me. And also, we have a couple of things to get your attention on the wall. This is the Weather Central computer. What you see on here is what's going to go over the air. Now, in the morning when I come in, I update all of this. I research the information. I put it all throughout the computer so that you'll be able to see all the newest and latest information. If you are interested in a career in broadcasting or maybe weathercasting, there's a couple of different ways that you can go, but start now. Journalism classes are a great way to go, as well as science and math. Math classes are going to be very important for meteorology, so calculus, you better believe it, get started. Most places are going to want to see that you are a meteorologist, but broadcast meteorology is also a great program, and one that I would recommend is through Mississippi State University. The best part of My choice of career is the places it can take you. I wasn't always here from Kern County, but along the way I've met all sorts of wonderful people, and I'm going to continue to move around the country, and if that's a dream of yours, this job can take you anywhere you'd like to go. Thank you for joining me on a tour of our ABC 23 studios. I hope I was able to provide you with a little bit of insight. And remember, I'll be seeing you every morning from 5 to 7 a.m. Bye-bye.
Hi, my name is Jean, and I am an interpreter for California State Parks. I interpret science and history into something that's interesting to people and relevant to their lives so they can tell their other friends about it too. Like biological interactions, relationships, different ecosystems like the desert versus the ocean and the different kind of animals that you'll find in them, and also the variety of history that we have from Native Americans through mining, through aeronautics. So there's a lot of really interesting things to learn about. We have school groups that come out to the parks, and I give them tours, or the volunteers give them tours. I also do programs. If you ever go to a campground and there's a ranger there with this hat on, and they do a little slideshow about the animals and the plants of the park, that's my job. For my position as an interpreter, again, I'm not interpreting a language, I'm interpreting natural and cultural history. A degree in history, or sociology, or even an actual degree in interpretation is required, a 4-year degree. I definitely recommend volunteering for state parks. When you start to volunteer, you meet people that can help you to go up in your career. You also learn about the department, and that's really helpful when you're applying for a job. So with my job, I get to experience a lot of different kinds of environments, different kinds of communities. When I started with California State Parks, I began in Monterey, and I was doing tours of the sand dunes. I was going to schools and teaching the kids about whales and the marine environment. And then, that's great and everything, but it's also nice to try something completely new. And then I moved to the desert, so now I go to schools and I teach kids about Joshua trees and the threatened desert tortoise. What's fun and rewarding about my job is I get to meet a lot of different kinds of people. I go out to communities and I give talks to people. I do slideshows about the habitat and the history. And what I love the best is that I can see people's eyes light up. It's also really great that I get to do something that I know is a good thing. I'm not just going to work and doing paperwork and working in a little cubicle. I'm out there and I'm doing something that makes the world a little bit better. Well, I really enjoyed telling you about my job today. I definitely encourage you to look into environmental jobs like I have. Everything that we do has an impact on the environment, and if we can go out and educate people, then it makes it all better for everybody. Well, thanks again, and I look forward to seeing you in one of my parks. Bye-bye.
Hi, my name is Bill O'Brien. I'm with the California Air Resources Board. I work for the heavy-duty diesel section in the enforcement division. My main job is to smoke check all semis and make sure that they're burning clean. And if I think they're burning dirty, then I put a meter on them and check and see how bad they're smoking. So what happens is, if I find a vehicle that is smoking, and what I can do is I'll take this meter out. And what I do is I actually set this part of the meter down inside the stack. I have the driver accelerate full throttle for 4 seconds, and then this meter here reads how dense the smoke is in that time. Okay, right here I have a complete mobile office. I have a printer right here that I use to print my citations off with. I have a laptop that I set up right here that is connected to the printer. This is my main box for my smoke meter. This has got the main information pad on it that I conduct all my tests with. And then over here I have an actual flatbed copier, which I make copies of registrations and driver's licenses. In order to have a position like I have, you need to have your master certification on your automotive tech. Also have your smog license, that way you understand the way the emissions work on any of the equipment. ASE stands for Automotive Society of Engineering, and what happens is you end up taking all their tests, and there are 10 in the automotive field. If you're lucky enough, you can get picked up by a dealership, or you have to end up staying in school and getting your AA in automotive repair. If you get your AA in automotive repair, you automatically end up as a master tech. Typical week for me is working either at a scale or on the roadside, and either way I do the same job. I have trucks come through and I look at their smoke, I look at tampering, and I look at their labels. I also look at what type of fuel they're running. If it's red, then it's off-highway use only, and we write them a ticket for that too. When I write a ticket, it's not that I'm being mean. I enjoy writing the ticket because I know I'm cleaning the air. I love my job because I get to travel all over. It's a beautiful state to do my job. I get to go from Highway 152 all the way to Oregon. So it's a beautiful state to travel in, and I love traveling around.
Good morning. I'm Paul Jacobs. I'm Chief of Mobile Sources Enforcement for the State of California Air Resources Board. We're here at the California Environmental Protection Agency building in downtown Sacramento, and this is where the different departments of Cali EPA are housed. And we're specifically in the offices of the Enforcement Division of the California Air Resources Board. I'm Chief of Mobile Sources Enforcement, and that simply means I have about 75 staff statewide, including staff in Southern California and staff stationed along the Mexican border, and their job is to make sure that all the vehicles and equipment being operated in California is compliant with our pollution standards. So that means we go out and not only test individual vehicles, we also go out and secure products from dealers, manufacturers, and make sure that they meet our pollution standards. We also do special investigations and build enforcement cases, working closely with the district attorneys throughout the state and the Attorney General's office. Coming out of high school, students have a couple of career choices if they want to go into a career in environmental protection and specifically work for us at the Air Resources Board at the California EPA. First, they can go to a trade school or a community college and get a certificate in environmental technology, or also get a certificate in automotive or diesel technology. It can also be an Associate of Science degree. A lot of two-year degrees are issued in these areas. So that's one option. The most common option are for students to go into a traditional college or university and obtain a degree in engineering or one of the sciences. This is a very exciting and challenging job. It's a real fun job. I get to deal with the latest in technology, cars, trucks, buses, motorcycles, and be able to test these to make sure they meet our pollution standards, but actually we get to drive them. We get to go out and purchase these vehicles through undercover purchases and do covert inspections using surveillance equipment to find violations. Our mission with the Air Resources Board is to provide healthy air quality for all 37 million Californians.
Hi everyone, my name is Elizabeth Lahori, and I am an air quality specialist up at Edwards Air Force Base. As an air quality specialist, part of my day-to-day duties is to run the air quality program, take care of their compliance needs, running different missions, different projects, doing different research elements, working with aircraft itself, working with new fuels. Out at Edwards Air Force Base, we also run an air monitoring station. This is a means for us at our specific location and facility to understand what particulate matter is being emitted into the air, how much of an impact our base is having on the ambient pollution and concentrations of these pollutions in the atmosphere. Things that we measure are particulate matter that's 10 microns and less, as well as particulate matter that's 2.5 and less. All right, to work in the environmental field, I would recommend that you go to college, you get a background in anthropology, sociology, economics, as well as chemistry, mathematics. physics, any of the sciences, any of the engineering aspects is an excellent field to go into. I get to go out into various organizations and look at the equipment they're running, things that they're operating, perform inspections on that equipment to make sure it's operating correctly, make sure it's not creating additional pollution that's not necessary. We want to make sure that we take a look into all aspects of that work to make sure that the pollution created is minimized and that the controls that they're using out there are working correctly and effectively. Being an environmental consultant actually impacts just about everybody out there, from government agencies, various military components, and you also get industry level. All have an environmental component they have to look into. Air quality will spread across all those different entities. Well, thank you everyone for letting me share a little bit about my day-to-day experience and my job responsibilities with you guys. I hope you guys all go out there and do your part to protect the environment.